Welcome to the Connected Yoga Teacher live show. I'm your host, Shannon Crow, and I'm excited to talk with you today about side plank because a lot of the time, sorry, I'm just going to move my little words around here. A lot of the time, our yoga students are not able to do traditional side plank. And so it's great if we can offer them modifications because this is a great pose for strengthening core and to help to build that real core four. And when I talk about core, those of you who follow me know that I'm talking about the true core and the core four, the transverse abdominis, the multifidus, the diaphragm, and the pelvic floor. Okay, so let's dive into today's video. Just so you guys know, if you're new to this, all of the show notes are over on the connectedyogateacher.com under live show. They'll be there near the end of the day. Hello, Sherry. Welcome. Nice to see you popping on here live. Someone else is here as well. Post a little hello if you're popping on here live. I'm going to start with a video, and for those of you who want to watch the replay, you can do this on one side, and then you can start the tape again and play it for the other side. We're just going to focus on one side today, otherwise it would be a really long video. I try and keep this short and sweet for you guys. Okay, so let me get our side plank. And I'll start showing you the video. So we're going to do really simple version first of side plank. We come lying down on the side and the elbow is directly underneath the shoulder. The hips are stacked. If they start rolling back a little bit, just remember to stack the hips again. And the ribs, they want to probably slouch down towards the floor. We're going to let the ribs come up. And then you can see there, I was showing that there's lots of length in around the neck. So we really let the neck lengthen so that the ear isn't going right towards the shoulder. And this is a version of side plank that anyone can do. If they can get down on the floor or even side lying on a massage table or a bed, then they can do this pose. The knees are stacked, the hips are stacked. We really want to check in that the hips stay stacked and that shoulder is stacked over top of the elbow in this pose. And then there's ways to increase it, and we'll go through that now. So you can stay right here with the breath. And if students want to start to feel that heart opening that we love about side plank, then we can raise the hand either up towards the sky or up overhead. Lots of length there. And then the hand can come down towards the side. Another way we make sure that the hips are stacked is that we can lift. So we press through the knees, we engage the transverse abdominis on the exhale, then we lift and breathe and smile. Maybe raise the hand up either towards the sky or up overhead, and then we'll lower down. Good. And then we come back. So just remembering again, no ribs slouching towards the floor. This is another pose, and you can use it as a counter pose, but we want to really have those ribs lifted up, transverse abdominis engaged, lots of space between the ear and the shoulder. So the next one that we're going to move to is really nice if we're not moving into downward dog, because this is traditionally where we come into side plank, is from downward dog. So I like to have lots of padding under the knees. Bring a blanket or something. I also like to really use a block, and this you're going to see. So this isn't really traditional side plank, but this is one way for students to feel like they can get into the pose. So we place the block down on one side, and we're going to stretch the foot. I'm right at the corner of the wall. You'll see I kind of make space, but the wall helps me in this one as well a little bit. So find lots of length here, and then we'll just find a little side stretch there. And if you want, you can do a little counter pose. That's just a little side stretch. And this is great for baby half moon as well. And you'll see that you can just lift that foot off the floor. We're not stressing, and we're not on the outside of the foot like we are in traditional side. Okay, let's just go back a little bit here. And so that's where the wag the tail is. The block really helps my shoulder in this, I find, and my wrists. And so from there, we can just find side plank. And it's basically kind of same place that we were. And we can come into that half moon version from there. So that's another way to come into it with your students as well. And they can play around and flow a little bit there with it also. You can play around. You can see how you can be near the wall and place your foot on the wall for a little bit of support. You can do holding on to the ankle as well. And students are going to feel like, oh yeah, I'm really capable to play around and do some of the things that maybe they can't do in traditional side plank that they'll work up to. Okay, so the next one that we're going to look at is how to step the foot forward into a lunge. So it's not lunge with the foot all the way forward, but it's lunge with the foot part way back. This one is the most confusing to cue. So this enables you to come onto the outside edge of the foot. So do you see how the hand and the front foot are really holding the weight here? And that back foot, we can come onto the outside edge of that foot. And then you can do whatever you want here. It's a nice little twist as well. And you can stretch and open. And you're going to see in a little further down the video how this one is usually easier than our traditional way of coming into side plank. So I think I show here. I don't have my mat because I thought it was easier for you guys to see for pictures as well. So the floor is a little slippery on my feet. And so this is traditionally how we come into side plank. I thought, should I redo it? Nah. And then my hair is in my face and it's a video. So this is how we come into traditional side plank here. And push through the feet. And find the breath. So you can see how that's a little challenging for students to come into even when they've been doing yoga for a while. So you're going to see how we can play around. I think I have a second part to this video where I show from table. So this is table and then it's that lunge and we kind of. So if your students don't feel comfortable with the traditional downward dog, that is the great option. Let me just show that one more time there, you guys. Hi, Sherry. I know the video is kind of cutting in and out. You guys can let me know if you can still see it. I know there's someone else on here with us live. I'd love to see who that is. Okay. I don't know if I showed that again. So this is where we bring that foot forward. We come onto the outside edge of the back foot. Then from here, we can wiggle, wiggle, wiggle that front foot. And maybe people don't want to go all the way back with them stacking, but it's a great place to think, do I, can I? And come into it from there. The wall is in my way a little bit, but also helpful. And I always say to my students, if you're not wiggling, you're not playing around enough here. So you can play around in different variations as well. So there you guys go. That is, it does cut out a little bit with our Facebook Live with this eCam Live. I'm sure they're still working out bugs with it, and it's the best way that I can show you guys video and answer questions on here. If you guys have, does anyone here who's watching live, do you dislike or love side plank? And then do you have any other variations? Feel free to even post a photo in the comments here if you'd like to of your own version of side plank. For the second part of the Connected Yoga Teacher Live show, I always answer a question that yoga teachers might have. And I hear a lot of these questions in the consultation work that I do with yoga teachers. And one of the most common questions, just one moment here, you guys, is what is the ideal yoga teaching schedule? So that is a really common question that I get, and I'd love to address that for you guys today a little bit, as much as I can. So you are self-employed for a reason, or you're aiming to be self-employed for a reason as a yoga teacher. And I know a lot of you have other full-time, part-time employment And sometimes that's employment that you want to continue to do as well as being a yoga teacher, but I know some of you speak to me about wanting to be more of a full-time yoga teacher. And so we want to sit down and really look at our own schedule, because what can sometimes happen to all entrepreneurs of all different businesses is that we think, okay, I want to be self-employed so that I can really create my own schedule. And I know this really personally. I can create my own schedule, and then I find that I'm just working on weekends, in evenings. Friends are saying, do you want to do this? And I think, no, I have too much work. That's when I know I've gone beyond the limit, and I joke around like, oh, my boss is really tough and makes me joke. So if you had full classes and you were doing what you wanted to do as a yoga teacher, what would that look like? So this is what we dream about. We dream about and we think, oh, I'd have so much free time. I'd be able to take holidays when I wanted to. I'd be able to take that vacation. I would set my own vacation time. So I'd love for you to take a look at that. And what does that look like weekly? What does that look like monthly? What does that look like for the whole year? And think about in this, let's keep it really simple, that you're going to look at your yoga time, your hours for yoga. Two things of that. One is travel and teaching, and the second part of that is the business side of yoga. So how much time, if you're not doing travel and teaching, how much time do you want to be spending doing the business side of things? And if you pack your schedule with the travel and the teaching because that's what you love, you're going to have to hire someone to do the business side of things. Otherwise, you won't have the travel and teaching time to work on, because you need to promote your business and do your accounting and all of that other fun stuff, or you need to hire someone to help you with that. And then the other time, so we've got one side is the yoga time, and we want the other side to be our time off work. So you may have another job that ideally is also in your schedule. So add that in as well. How many hours for this other ideal job that you love would you put in? And then how much time off would you want to have weekly, monthly, yearly? And look at other schedules. So if you are working at a 9-to-5 job and you have regular holidays and you think to yourself, I really want to be self-employed so that I can get paid more for my time, be doing what I love, and then have extra holiday time, you need to make sure that that's in your ideal schedule. And then a couple of notes just to remember. So when I work one-on-one with people, we dive into this further and I make it really personal. But here are some things that trip us up, or some things that we might forget to think about. So we want to be thinking about financially, what do you really need to be making in order to sustain your living? And also, so the financial stuff also comes into that. So we want to remember that. The other thing, the other little note here is time. Like, how much time do you have? And you might be doing other things. You might be caring for children. Or you might be caring for parents or elderly people or pets or someone in your life that you need to take care of. You might have another job, so we talked about that, and add it in if you love it. If you don't love it, let's not put it in the ideal schedule. It would be something that we would be working towards, working at what we love full time, ideally. There's some transition time in there. I'm not saying quit your job and then do that, but let's look at what the ideal schedule looks like and start to work towards that. And the other thing is maybe you have something else like volunteer time or something. So think about your time and also look at your schedule and just remember that we don't have to follow this specific, the rules. It doesn't have to be 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But would you like to spread your classes out, or would you like to batch them together and have that time together? Personally, I love that Tuesdays is my yoga teaching day. So I work at a physiotherapy office in the morning, and then I have a group class in the evening on Tuesdays. And I know when people say, can I book a private class with you? I'm like, yes, you can book it on Tuesdays. If people say, Like, what night is your group class? It's Tuesdays. And sometimes I add other things into that for teaching as well. But that is the overall calendar for that for myself. And I find that when I batch them together, so if you think about it, it really cuts down on the travel time as well. So I think that's lots to think on. Let's look at our ideal yoga schedules. And if you guys have more questions with this, so if you're feeling stuck and you feel like you need help with that, that's what I do with my consulting work when I work one-on-one with people. And you can go to the connectedyogateacher.com and go to the tab that says work with me. And there's a bit of a process there because I like to really know you through a form, and then I like you to book a time that works for you. But you can see on there, it's an initial consultation if we've never worked together before. And you choose 3 topics, and we have 90 minutes, and it is really intense. There's a lot of stuff that we go through in a hurry, and so it's all recorded. There's an audio recording for you so that you don't have to worry about scrambling to take a lot of notes because we cover a lot. We usually cover enough for people to feel like, okay, this is enough work for me for a few months. Also, a little bonus with the show notes, so make sure you go to theconnectedyogateacher.com because I'm going to have photos of the modifications of side plank. I've almost got them all loaded and ready for you guys so that you can just take a quick look at them and say, ah, yeah, those are the photos. Thanks, Sherry. Great to see you. I'm just going to sign off and say goodbye. Have a wonderful week, you guys. Oh, don't forget to listen to the podcast episode this week on Saturday. Joanne Pino was talking to us about sciatic pain and yoga. So lots of stuff on there for sciatica, sciatic pain, piriformis syndrome. Joanne is a real expert, has written a book on it, and I'm excited for you guys to be able to listen to that episode.